Hey guys, welcome back to Off the Clock with your attorneys here at Herman Wells. As we did on the last video, if you guys have seen it, which I hope you have, if not, go watch it. We're doing what we call the shareholder spotlight, where we introduce who the people are behind the name Herman Wells. And how we have it set up today, we're with Cliff Wells in his office, and as light falls on him, it's like he's in the spotlight. So I think that's kind of fitting. As always, I'm Bill Demas. My partner in crime, Warren Duffy, who was in mediation the last time, working hard for his clients, is here today, but he is off camera. So he's over there. We all have to say hi to Warren. He's always here helping us here. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to Cliff about his background and what it means to him and how it helped him. And then we're going to do a lightning round with interesting questions that you all heard me ask Jason. But again, if you haven't heard it, go back and look. And Cliff doesn't know what they are, so he's going to have to answer them. So it's a fun way to get to know the shareholders. So, Cliff, how you doing?
Doing well, Bill. How are you?
Good. So, Cliff, where were you born?
I was actually born in Connecticut, but I was
Okay.
only there for a couple of years before the family moved to Kansas City.
Okay, and how long were you in Kansas City?
The rest of my childhood until I graduated from law school, actually.
Oh, so where did you go to high school? What was high school?
There's a suburb of Kansas City called Overland Park, and I went to Shawnee Mission North there.
Okay. In high school, involved in any sports, activities, extracurricular, anything like that?
Yeah, did a lot of sports. I got hurt playing football very early on, and so I was a swimmer since I was a young child, so I continued on the competitive swimming. I wrestled, I played a little bit of soccer, and pole vaulted actually, and wound up doing that in college.
Okay, cool. So you were actually a collegiate pole vaulter?
That's right.
Folks, you learned something new. I didn't know that. I've known Cliff for almost a decade. I didn't know he was a pole vaulter. See, this is why we do these things. Did you know he was a pole vaulter?
I actually did because I pole vaulted in high school.
I didn't know Warren pole vaulted. You see what we're learning today, folks? Everything. Okay. So, what college did you go to?
I went to undergrad at Central Missouri State University, but they actually changed the name later to University of Central Missouri a few years after I was done.
You were so good to actually change the name after you left.
I don't know if it was, yeah.
And where did you go to law school?
The first year of law school, I went to University of Tulsa in Oklahoma, and then the second, after that first year, I finished up at the University of Missouri in Kansas City, UMKC Law School.
Okay. So besides being an attorney, what other kind of work have you done in your life?
Well, I was in the Army, Army Reserves all through undergrad and my first year of law school. I got those all done while I was in reserves. I was a flight engineer on Chinook helicopters in the Army. And all through that, I also worked in construction. My stepdad was in construction. I had an uncle that was in construction. So I was doing that since as long as I can remember.
Now, what does a flight engineer do on the helicopters?
It's really just, quite honestly, it's just a glorified mechanic. But on Chinooks, for some reason, they call them flight engineers, where you actually are on the helicopter. They always told us we had to have a pilot, a co-pilot, and a flight engineer or a crew chief on the helicopter. That's a mechanic that's on there that has a little extra training, a little extra testing.
And what did you learn from those jobs that you feel really help you represent and connect with your clients?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably just helping people, like helping to talk to people. And it's helped a lot in my legal career because so much of what we do is mechanical. Even the medical stuff is very mechanical, but it also helps with the car crashes and the fall downs and talking to experts. But really, honestly, I think it's more just connecting with people. I had to interact with everyone.
And did those jobs, especially working in construction for your family, because you're not doing glorified jobs when you're helping your stepdad in construction, probably you're mixing the cement, you're cleaning up the yard. What life lessons did you learn from doing those types of jobs? And even in the military, all the other duties that you had to do when you're off the helicopters, what life lessons did you learn from those?
The absolute biggest one was just a work ethic. I've never shied away from it. If anything, I feel a little bit of guilt if I'm not working a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about the Army that I think that I took away from it was that it extended the work ethic even farther because I found out we really don't need as much sleep as we need. So to this day, I don't mind putting in the long hours when we need to for trials and things. And
So when you came out of law school, did you go work for a firm?
well, yes. So my first year out of law school, I was a defense attorney for an oil refinery at the time was on St. Croix in the Virgin Islands. So right when I graduated, I was from Missouri, and so I got that job, I landed it, and was all excited to go down to the Caribbean. The island life is kind of tough, and I preferred the mainland, but I didn't want to go back to Missouri, so I moved here to Florida instead. I'm never leaving.
That must have been a huge adjustment if you're going from Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, barbecue capital, arguably the barbecue capital of the world, middle of the state, middle of the country, to the Caribbean.
Right.
What kind of culture shock was
I moved
that?
to Florida. I think the biggest thing is leaving all of your friends, because I had a big group of friends and a lot of family and stuff in Kansas City. The island, it's much slower. Waiting in line when there's only two people in front of you for 45 minutes at a fast food restaurant or something like that is very common. And I had to slow down a lot. And that was the biggest culture shock, I think.
So when you left the Caribbean and came to Florida, what type of law did you start practicing?
Well, I was a defense attorney when I was defending the oil refinery. And then when I came to Florida, I wanted, another thing is I wanted to be on the other side of the V. I always felt sort of empathy for the hurt people, which probably isn't the best quality to have when you're a defense attorney. So now that I'm on the plaintiff side, I get to help the hurt people against the big companies. So it just makes me feel a lot better about myself.
So how many years total have you been representing plaintiffs and injured parties?
Well, I moved here in 2002, so 23 years. Sorry, 21 years, going on 22 years.
Okay. And who is your typical client?
Well, the typical one would be, for the most common, I think, is probably still car crashes, followed by people that are hurt for some other reason by someone else's negligence, whether it be because of a corporation that has bad policies and procedures and left stuff on the ground and caused someone to trip or slip and fall. There's an occasional bad defective products. And then occasionally, wrongful death, which is obviously severely the worst thing that can happen to you is lose a loved one.
Right. So when did you open up Herman Wells?
So I was on my own from 2007, and then around 2015, Jason Herman and I merged and decided to form Herman Wells. And so we've been doing it for a while.
You beat me to my next question. Who's the Herman in Herman Wells? Jason Herman.
Yeah, that's Jason. He's my best friend and law partner for a long time now.
So, as an attorney here at the firm has this, it's not a motto, but it's a philosophy of trials first. What does that mean to you?
Okay, so pretty early on, I found out that when I would just prepare all my cases for trial very early on, like immediately, not only did it help the case go smoother, it helped when you go to trial, you just do better because you are aligning, getting your chess pieces in order at the beginning, but also it helps the settlements as well. I have this theory, the only thing that insurance carriers fear is a good case. So, and they see it when your case is lined up correctly, when you've got all the witnesses and you've got statements and you've got the evidence in order early on. So yeah, of course you do better at trial, but also when your clients want you to settle, you're going to get the better outcome for them.
It's trials first, and it doesn't matter if it's a $10 million case or a small $10,000 just policy limit case. You got to prepare them the same, right?
Well, it is imperative that you try tough cases, and a lot of them, because those are where we get challenged the most by the insurance carriers. So there's a big drive for you to never take a hard case forward to trial, because if you do, you're going to work a lot. You're never going to see your family for weeks on end. You're going to put a lot of money out invested, and for a harder case, which has a higher outcome, higher odds of a bad outcome. But if you don't try those, the insurance carriers know which ones you'll try, which ones you won't. And so you have to hold their feet to the fire and try those, as well as the big cases, which we, of course, would like to go more because it's always more fun to be the hammer than the nail. But as long as we sleep at night knowing that I sleep at night knowing that I did the best for each of my clients, then that makes me feel good and gets me up the next day.
Awesome. And you've tried a lot of cases, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a sense of when you come out of a case, even if, let's put it this way, it's always easy to win a game, whether it's football or soccer, or try a case. It's always easy to come out with the verdict that you wanted in those cases and feel good, okay? In the cases that you prepared for and you've done and you just haven't gotten the results that you wanted, your clients and you knew that you went in there and did the best job, and it was a decision by 6 people, not anything that they did or you did that made the outcome come, because you prepared them and you were prepared and you worked hard, right?
Yeah, 100%, yes.
Okay. Because that's important, because some people think that when you go and you lose a case that you've done something wrong. Somebody's done something wrong, but people fail to understand it's really a trial is a decision where 6 people are listening to the facts, and you hope they come to the right decision. But people can just turn around and look at all these sensationalized cases on the news from, OJ, a bunch of all these other cases where we're all sitting at home going, how did those 6 people make that decision? So you have to be prepared, and the key is that it's the work ethic that gets you prepared. It's not what you do on day of trial. That's important, but it's what you've done the year before trial, the 8 months before trial. That's what really matters in trying cases.
And that actually dictates what you're able to do at trial.
Right.
So if you've done it 50 times, like Jason and I are talking things through and finding the best way to put on evidence until 2 or 3 or 4 a.m., even though we're getting up at 5 to go to trial, that's why that happens, is because we put in the time and the effort and to work up each case. And our clients know it. They're texting us back and forth until all hours of the night and morning. So they see that. And I'm always proud of any attorney that goes in and tries a tough case. There's guys that have been doing it longer than me, and I applaud them when they try the hard cases, and because they're in the trenches with the rest of us, battling it out and honing our skills.
Right. So what, besides personal injury, what other areas of law are practiced?
Well, the original 2 was personal injury, wrongful death, which is the side of the practice that I oversee, and then the property insurance claims like flood, fire, storm, things like that Jason kind of oversees. And then of course you brought you brought the disability branch of Herman Wells up, which is amazing. Thank you. You're doing great as always. But that we were sending you cases for 7 years before you came on. And then we've also have, of course, Alan Gustafson, who has always been our favorite construction law attorney. And now he's building the construction law practice. And that dovetails well with the insurance claim, like property claim side of our practice.
And I asked Jason this question, and you had said it before, but I think it's real important. One of the most things I enjoy about working here at Herman Wells is that when you come to work, you're going to work with a bunch of your friends. I mean, we knew each other for almost a decade. I knew Jason for longer. I've known Warren for that long. Keith Stahl and I tailgated at Bucks games almost 20 years ago. Warren's wife and I have known each other for 20 years. So if you go down, Alan and Jason have a 20-year relationship. So we're all sort of friends. that's what I enjoy about working here is that you guys put that together. Um, do you feel that vibe when you come into work?
What's you left out is that we not only like each other, but we respect every one of you guys for being the best in your field. Like
Mhm.
I mean, like we've known you as the disability guru for such a long time, and Alan, and yeah, you guys are, all of you guys are amazing to be around. And yeah, I always look forward to going in, and I always get cheered up when I get to banter with
Right.
one of you guys. And it's also kind of fun because everybody has different experiences, and the new experiences bring in different ways of looking at things and problems and cases and fresh, putting fresh eyes on the personal injury side or the property damage side or whatever.
Yeah, and I gotta say is that some people don't like, we've all worked at other firms before. I worked at a big defense firm and then I worked at another firm. And there's always that feel when you go to work, when you get in your car and you pull out of your garage, and then you get to work and you close the door. And if you're working at a place where it's just a job, both those times you go, okay, here we go. But I gotta tell you, like today, I knew coming in that Warren and I come in on the same day, but he was here and I was here and Jason was here and you were here. And then Keith showed up because he had something in the office. And it was like, I walked into work today, I was like, just happy, bouncing because I knew I was going to see everybody. And I gotta tell you, that makes me work for my clients at a different level because you're not dreading the place that you work. And you guys have done a great job putting that relationship together. And then the staff feeds on it. I think we have an amazing staff here, by the way. Paralegals and front desk and Stephen, our marketing CEO, who's creeping in the darkness back there with Warren. So I'm gonna have to get him on camera one day. He's one of those guys that wants everybody to do videos, but he never wants to be on videos. I'm gonna win that war. I'm gonna win that war, guys. Watch. So talk to me about this this firm. I want to say kind of zeitgeist that we have here of I'm losing the word for it, but coming in and everybody having a good time. Is that something that you and Jason deliberately set out to do, or is it something that kind of just fell together? How everybody loves working here. We are just a great family.
I think that it followed something else by focusing a little more on the kind of the vision of putting the client first and spending our time because we're blessed with the ability to go to work and represent people for what happened to them on their worst day. We are you, me, we're all helping people against a very large, corporation, almost always. And by doing that, and from us all the way down to not down, but all across the board, everybody here knows that we are there to help these people, help them get the best result they can. So because of that, we have a job and we're proud of what we do. We all are working together for the same goal. And so by doing that, I think that kind of the side effect is that people tend to be in good moods. And when we go and talk to each other about how to accelerate this case forward or that case forward, and everybody respects each other, they help each other, and the side effect is what you're talking about. We just have that's I think where this great culture we have here came from.
Thank you, guys. The $1 million word was culture. I don't know how many years of schooling I had. I couldn't think of culture. So that's what we do here. We help each other out. Tough things and simple things. So what I do now, and I did it to Jason, is lightning round questions. Okay? So we're gonna start off with something easy. How many kids and what ages?
2 kids, 11 and 13, who turns 14 like next week.
Besides spending time with your family, which of course we all love to do, what is your favorite activity, pastime, hobby?
Probably, I love going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place to go and get that done. And that, and really what I love doing is more active things like wakeboarding, and I like doing archery. I never get a chance to do it anymore, and playing with my kids.
An archer pole vaulter, you learn new things every day. All right, favorite flavor of ice cream?
Um, I would have to say bright ice. Uh, ice. They have the mint chocolate chip, and it's the best thing that's ever been put on this planet.
Wow, I gotta check that out. Favorite movie?
Lock, stock, and two smoking barrels.
Good choice. Your opinion of what the best sitcom of all time is?
Um, Man, I hate to say that because it's almost a cliche, but I used to love watching Friends.
Right.
I
Okay.
used to love watching Friends.
Hey, there's no wrong answers. Well, this one there may be a wrong answer. Coke or Pepsi?
This is all gonna be unpopular. I like Pepsi better.
You think you know somebody? Okay, ketchup on eggs or no?
No,
Okay.
absolutely no.
Okay.
I love omelets. I
Good.
love them, and it's horrifying.
Thin or thick crust pizza?
Thin.
Candy corn or no? Are you a candy corn fan or no?
Yes.
Chicken wings or the chicken drummies? When you get chicken, which one is your favorite? The flapper or the drummy?
I think I'm gonna have to. Right now, I'm gonna go for the flapper.
Okay. Corner brownies or from the middle of the pan?
Damn. Corner.
If you have your last meal and dessert, what would it be? What dinner, what meal, and then what dessert?
It would be red meat. Just a gigantic pile of beautiful, huge, juicy steak. It's perfectly salted, a little bit of crust, medium rare, followed closely by some great smoked ribs.
And you dessert?
I would have to say, I usually don't eat dessert, but when I do, I think it would probably have to be just some ice cream or maybe some cream, what do they call it? Cheesecake.
Okay. You're on a desert island and you can bring one album to listen to for the rest of your life. What album is it?
One album for the rest of right now, I would say one of the Dave Matthews Band. I'd have to think on that. One of the Dave Matthews Band.
What's something from Dave Matthews? Okay. A person, either currently alive or from history, that you would want to sit down and just have a beer with, just have a conversation with.
Jesus. Okay.
That'd be more wine, though, wouldn't it?
You know what? Maybe that would make the conversation better.
Right.
Here now I likes beer. And let's say here. Man, you would have to go with like one of the Alexander the Great or I have to say probably lately I just read about Alexander the Great. I'd love to pick that his brain.
The artist or group who is no longer touring that you never saw in concert but wish you would have seen.
They'll still be all alive.
No, they could be just like, for example, Elton John is no longer touring, or this band is no longer touring, but you were like, God, I wish I would have seen them when they were touring or when they were still alive. An artist like, I wish I would have seen this person before they passed away.
I'd probably go with Pearl Jam.
Yeah. Your first celebrity crush, your first actress or person that you had a crush on that you saw on TV or in the movies.
There was some. Wonder Woman.
Okay. Linda Hamilton, nice.
Yeah.
Favorite city in the world, other than, of course, the one you live in, that you would want to live for the rest of your life?
I'm gonna probably go with Denver, Colorado.
Okay. And this is the last question. Would you rather be able to speak every language or speak to animals?
Everything.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to talk to anybody. Yeah, I would think that'd be fascinating. The animals too, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm a every language person because I just want to be able to go and speak to everybody. So guys, this was the second meet the shareholder. Now I'm going to start doing these with other attorneys. I will get Warren in that seat to answer these same questions. I may have to change him because he heard them, so he can't get a preview. But we're going to lightning round all of them, and we're going to have Grace Reeves and Corey and all the other attorneys come through. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk with some of the staff too. You guys will get to meet all the staff in situations like this. But please come back, like us, subscribe, and I'm going to let Cliff take it away. Cliff, tell them how they can get in touch with us here.
Well, probably the easiest way is just to call us. So the phone number is 727-821-3195. You can also email or fill out the form on the website, but definitely the best way to do is just to call us. We've got great staff, and everybody here is very attentive.
Well, thanks very much, guys. I hope you liked it, and tune in next time when I swear I will get Warren back on set, and then we'll go from there. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.